Weekly update for Friday, March 20th. And this is from my fan letter to Robert M. Overstreet about the market reports in his Overstreet guide. Then I flagged Nick Catratis's, quote, "There are no comic art bears, just bulls," unquote. Cautionary note on his part, which was a very interesting observation. Are we all just heading for an inevitable cliff edge, blinded by the love we have for what we're doing and what we purchase, create, and choose to own? Whether it's buying tens of thousands of comic books for the sake of the gems that can be gleaned from the dross, or spending 10 years distilling thousands of pages of research materials into 250 graphic novel pages. Not naming any names. Lots of food for thought on how can an environment this size sustain a Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko Silver Age Marvel art market of $1 billion, give or take. If you do the math, if you add up all of the Jack Kirby and Steve Ditko pages that exist on the comic art market and multiply them by the prices that they're going for, Nick makes the point that it's pretty close to $1 billion. The higher the prices go, and it's been a genuine exponential hockey stick curve for a good 20 years now, the less likely I think that someone is going to, quote, dump, unquote, their Silver Age Marvel, Kirby, and Ditko pages en masse. And then in the fullness of time, the even less likely scenario that anyone will even own Silver Age Kirby and Ditko pages in quantity, for the same reason that no one in the 21st century outside of the Andy Warhol Museum owns dozens of Andy Warhols, something that had been possible as late as the 1990s. Even in my Cerebus, quote, way out here in the art market boondocks, unquote, context, there are roughly 2,000 of the 6,000 Cerebus pages in the wild, but they still only trickle onto the market no matter how high the prices go. The higher the prices go, the more someone who paid $100 a page back in 1992, the going rate at the time, which everyone had to anguish about and wanted to dicker over on the 1992 American tour. Can you let me have them for 75 if I pay? I won't get into that. Is going to delay cashing in. Conversely, whenever the price goes soft temporarily, the more people delay cashing in hope that the price goes back up. And the 4,000 pages in the Cerebus archive are staying there, God willing, to be preserved and passed on to my chosen successor as Aardvark Anaheim president Eddie Kana, and who at the moment is actively purchasing, quote, in the wild, unquote, pages for his personal collection with the intention of, quote, repatriating, unquote, them to the Cerebus archive when the time comes. I think a point Nick might be missing is that while there is, as he says, an almost unimaginably large volume of comic book art from the last century, physical comic artwork in the 21st century has already gone the way of the dodo. Most comic books today, and for at least the last 10 years, are being drawn on computer, with actual artwork being, at best, a fragmentary and or early stage raw material in the production of the digital finished page. In the same sense that twice up Marvel and DC pages have a greater cachet than their latter brethren, in another 50 years, all-in-one pages, all of the pages included on the page, are going to be, I'm pretty sure, a comparable rarity. Cerebus will be one of the last comic series produced in that, quote, total page comic art, unquote, category. There are, as an example, no total page Judenhaus 2005-2007 pages, and relatively few total page Glamourpuss 2008-2012 pages. As with so much the market reports document, the not-so-slow fading of total page comic art is going to be one of those phenomena that isn't apparent at the time it's occurring, but will become inescapable the further we get from ground zero. The entrenchment of computer lettering and pre-press and the emailing of a quote original unquote, quote art unquote, from creator to publisher is a multi-leveled art market game changer. Only a handful of retrograde 21st century eccentrics will actually draw their comics in meat space. And there you go. That's what I had to say on the subject of that one. So thanks for joining us for the weekly update, and I will see a bunch of you next week.